What's good, y'all? It's Noble. Today I'm going to be showing y'all my in-depth process behind making emotional samples. These are the kind of samples that can be labeled as pain, but they're not really pain because they're not generic and they have a lot of body, emotion, and feeling behind them. But yeah, I just want to keep it straight to the point, so without further ado, let's get straight to the video. So before I break the full sample down, this is what it sounds like. Crazy. So I actually made this sample with my boy LC, my boy Pilgrim, and my boy Trev Bosch. You can really tell when listening to the sample how full of emotion it is, and that's because of the amount of layers that there are. This sample probably took me about 3 to 4 hours to put together entirely. And I also thought it's a perfect vibe for Trippie Redd, especially since he's working on a Love Letter to You 5. Anyways, I'm gonna leave links to their socials in the description, but this is the start of the LC sent me. Yeah, so I liked everything about this except for this little pluck part right here, which was definitely in key, it just didn't sound right, and whatever this vocal pad was, I really just wanted to work with the bare bones of the starter here. As for effects, I just made sure to make it a little bit stereo and add some sketch cassette for body. From there I cut up the stems so I'd have more room to work with. So while I was working on this sample, my boy Pilgrim sent through a pack of starters, and I went through them and found one that I thought would work perfect with the sample. At the original pitch with no effects, it sounded like this. That pluck sound is crazy, but I really don't like the chord progression. Yeah, so like I said, the pluck was crazy. I just didn't really like the chords. So I pitched it down 500 and added my guitar mixer preset that y'all have definitely seen me use before. Most important plugin being Guitar Rig 6 with the Creamy Snowflakes preset. I also took just the strum chord to put it on a different mixer preset and add a bunch of reverb. And the plucks with all the reverb sounded like this. So yeah, to fix the chords that I didn't like, I just took this first chord and I copied it twice, once at the beginning and once right at the end of the 8-bar loop. Together we get this very full sound because they complement each other so well. From there I have one of my favorite aspects of this sample, which is this guitar run that I added from the Cadence Complete collection that just dropped on ProducerGrind. The link for that will be the first in the description. There's a crazy Black Friday deal, $37 with the sounds for only $12. Make sure you go get that. But yeah, with all the effects, this is what the guitar run sounds like. Very ambient, spacey, open. I have the standard guitar mixer preset that I use all the time that adds a bunch of reverb, and then I also have the sound shifter pitch stereo to put it in the right key. And as you can see, the most important thing here is the volume automation. It turns the run into more of an accented emotional siren, and it sounds crazy. Next thing we have here is this subtle texture that's actually a perk loop from the Cadence Complete collection. It may seem like there's a lot of effects here, but to be honest, I was kind of going overboard. I really just wanted to drown it in reverb, but keep a little bit of distortion to it, which is why there's a lot of thermal, and I added a pancake to keep it interesting. From here, I brought in this vocal chop from Trev Bosch, but while I was trying to incorporate into this sample, it sounded like there was some parts that were slightly off time, and so I spent like 20 minutes chopping it up to get it perfectly on time. And with the effects at the right pitch, we got this. The next thing I did was take this guitar phrase that I made for the Cadence Complete collection and I time stretched it. By the way, if you're interested in how I made this guitar run, I'm going to show you real quick. A lot of people don't know that the Scarby Rickenbacker bass in Contact can actually be used for higher octave stuff. It'll actually play all the way up to D sharp 6. And yeah, so with a bunch of effects, including most importantly Guitar Rig 6, you can get something like this. Chopped up with effects, I got this little guitar accent for the downbeat. Next we got by far my favorite part of the sample, which is another guitar phrase from Cadence Complete Collection. At the original pitch with no effects, we had this. And with everything, we got this. If you're wondering how I made this run, by the way, I use the Evolution Infinity Tap Faster Lead preset, and I just did a run with a bunch of short notes into one really long note, and I just drowned it in reverb. So you can hear how the sample is now really coming together. From here, I loaded up the palm muted preset and Scarby Rickenbacker bass. You can immediately notice that this pattern is a little bit more complicated than you might think for bass. I took my time on the runs here, and I wanted to make it sound as authentic as possible. That's why there's a lot of accent glides like this, and these glide notes like this. Now real quick, some sauce for this bank is to make sure you mess with the velocities. Obviously most of you already know to randomize your velocities. What I'm talking about is with the Scarby Rickenbacker bass, you really want to keep the velocities low. For example, this is what it would sound like with the velocities max. It just sounds very metallic and unrealistic as compared to this. And if you find that the bass sounds weak after that, just add some sketch cassette or sausage fattener, or just raise the volume in the channel rack. From there, I made sure to give this sample an A, B, C, and D section. You can see that I'm separating elements to make sure there's not too much repetition. For example, vocals are only in the A and C section, while the pluck is dropping out in between the B and the C. From there, the last step was the sound shifter on the master. Before that, we had this. And yeah, I just used the wave sound shifter and went down 2, and we got our final product. Crazy. That's gonna be about it for the video, y'all. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to subscribe and also like the video because it does help out the channel a lot. We're very close to 1.7k, so I appreciate you all for that. Huge shout out to LC, Pilgrim, and Trev Bosch for working on the sample with me. Their socials should be linked below. Make sure to go cop Cadence Complete Collection. Link is first in the description. And make sure to go follow my Instagram at prod.noble. I appreciate you all, and I'm out of here.
Let's go, Noble.